Hello, and welcome to a demo of Excel and how it could be fun. Um, just gonna type a little text message here. Alrighty, so let's get to Excel right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a blank workbook. And as soon as the workbook is made available to you, I strongly recommend that you save the workbook. My microphone is not close enough. We'll move it a little closer here. And clearly, what you want to do is to be able to save it somewhere where it's going to be easy to find, and you want to give it a name that is not too obscure, that isn't too vague. Um, Saving your work is extraordinarily important. Just testing the stream here for a second. It's going to be easy to find. Interesting. So it's not capturing this window. Let's go over here and let us refresh. Okay, there we go. Interesting. There we go. Okay, everything should be fine now. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Hello, here I am now. I want you to see the entire window here, so I'll zoom this out and bring this in like so. All right. So as you can see here, Excel is already organized in columns and rows, as it should be, and we call every single one of these columns and rows intersection a cell. Every cell has a unique address. The columns are labeled with letters, as you can see here, and every single row is labeled with a number. There are certain limits to the number of rows and columns you can have, depending on the version of Excel you're using and the file type. Most people will have over 16,000 columns available to them, and over 1,048,000 rows. Ample number of cells, close to 16 billion, if not a little more, to be able to type in and do whatever it is that you'd like. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in. Now, when you zoom in Excel, be aware the currently selected cell will always be visible to you. So if you had a cell selected like I did, cell I10 here, and by the way, we always name the cell addresses with column first, row second, so it's letter followed by number, I10. It's going to zero in on that cell when I zoom in. So I'm at 331% zoom. It's zeroed in on wherever I was working, whatever cell was selected. That's why I don't see A here and I don't see 1 here. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to click on, I'm going to scroll around here, I'm going to click on A1, and when I zoom in now, you'll see that it'll always be focused on the currently selected cell or group of cells. So when you approach Excel, you have to be aware of the whole point. The point of Excel is to be able to do any kind of organization of data, and especially being able to create formulas. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to type out some labels. Once you're typing, you're going to want to confirm that you're done typing. A lot of people will hit enter. Some people might want to hit tab. Some people might actually want to click on this check mark up here. They all do the same thing with a little bit of variation. They will confirm to Excel that you're done typing. But what's different about these methods is if you were to click on this check mark, the cell selector, that rectangle that is around the currently selected cell, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays where it is. If I were to hit enter, as you'll see here, the cell selector moves down. I'm going to double click back in there so I can reconfirm. If I were to hit tab, however, it'll move over to the right. So if you're planning on writing some headers left to right, it's probably a good idea, if you want to be super duper efficient, to hit tab as you're moving over. And now I've hit tab a couple times. I'm going to hit enter. And you might think it'll just go down directly below where I am. I'm currently in C1. You might think it's going to go down to C2, but when you hit enter, it'll actually remember that you hit tab twice before, so it'll actually go down below the first one, which is a pretty neat thing to see. Price here, let's say 2, quantity 3, and my subtotal would be 6. Now I could choose to write that in myself, but that would kind of be missing the point of Excel. What you really want to be able to do here is write a formula. Now, every single formula starts with an equal sign, unless you were taught spreadsheets with Lotus 1, 2, 3, and then what you learned is that in fact, you can start it with a plus. You can start it with a minus, but that'll force the first value to be negative, so don't do that unless you absolutely want to. And what I'm going to do here is write a formula. I could write 2 times 3. By the way, you'll note you don't put an X or multiplication. There are specific symbols for specific mathematical operations. Oh my, I've just noticed that my headphones aren't plugged in, so these are completely useless right now. But they look pretty cool, I'm sure. The asterisk is used for multiplication. Division, you would use a slash. If you have a full-size keyboard with a number pad on the right-hand side, you'll actually see that above the 8 there is an asterisk key, and above the 9 there's a slash key, so you don't have to fumble around looking for those specific keys if you have a multilingual keyboard or you're sitting at someone else's desk because you just showed up to do some training. This would work. If I hit enter, as you can see here, it'll give me the result of the problem, however. And the reason why I say it misses the mark is if I were to change the 2 to a 4, so the price is no longer 2, it's 4, it doesn't update to show me 12. And that's because my formula, which you can see by selecting the cell and observing in the formula bar that it's giving it to you. I like double clicking so I can see it a little bit bigger. The formula makes reference to actual values. So it's not going to change the 2 to a 4 just because you typed something in a cell. So to really get the point of Excel, you start your formula out, and instead of actually directly putting the value in, you make reference to the cell where the value exists, in this case A2. Now you can do this by typing A and typing 2. Note that I didn't have to put it in uppercase, and it'll actually highlight it for you, and there's this lovely color coding system where A2 here is in blue in my formula, and the actual cell is in blue as well. I could have, however, rather than typed it in manually, I'll just backspace those, I could just click on the cell. And then I can do my multiplication, and I can click on this cell. You see the color coding is there to help me identify which cells are which. And this is the point of Excel, everyone. This is the point. The point here is that you're going to be multiplying the cells, not specifically the contents. The contents will be multiplied, and if you modify the contents of the cells, you're going to get an updated value. So I'm going to click on the check mark here to confirm, and there we go. There's 12. If I were to click here on the quantity and put a 2, as soon as I confirm by hitting enter or tab or clicking the check mark, you'll see that the formula will update itself. And that's a very basic introduction to Excel. Thank you for watching this bandwidth / streaming / picture-in-picture test. I may never do one of these again. I may do them again. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.